New at 6, 3 women who are behind bars for the deaths of their former partners are each asking for a lesser sentence under the Oklahoma Survivors Act. The newly enacted law is not about guilt or innocence. It allows a judge to take abuse into consideration during the sentencing process if it contributed to the offense. It's also designed by lawmakers to allow for old cases to potentially be looked at through a new lens. They're each serving sentences at Oklahoma's largest women's prison. Kim Perigo for the 2001 death of her ex-husband, Jeffrey Packett. Carla Enlow for the 2004 death of her former boyfriend, James Martin. And Judith Nix for the 2016 death of her ex-husband, Kenneth Nix. They're separate cases but have some similarities. They're all mothers, and attorneys say they all suffered abuse at the hands of the men they killed.
All 3 of the cases filed today are Oklahoma mothers who are serving decades in prison for surviving horrific incidents of stalking and abuse.
Tuesday, attorneys filed motions in Oklahoma County and Tulsa County under the newly enacted Oklahoma Survivors Act.
Today is another round of filings for retroactive relief under the Oklahoma Survivors Act. So the law went into effect a few weeks ago, and we're working to get as many eligible survivors who are in prison kind of in the pipeline.
In these filings, documentation, attorneys say, proves abuse is substantiated, and they're asking for the court to consider lesser sentences.
These women, through these procedural decisions made by judges, are not being allowed to put on the full picture of what went on leading up to and during the crime. And that is why this new law is so powerful.
The act signed into law by Governor Kevin Stitt in May after a previous version was vetoed. Obviously, this is a state that is tough on crime, but like you just mentioned, you do believe in criminal reform. So how do you balance those two?
I think you can lock up people that we're really afraid of, and not that we're just mad at. So parole violations and things like that. I think we need to have some common sense, in other words.
News Channel 8's interview referenced in the 5 applications filed under this new law to date. In Judith Nix's case, prosecutors say Kenneth was shot while he was asleep. Judith alleges they were struggling over a gun that he pulled on her.
And so we just grabbed it, and I managed to get it away from him somehow, some way. Twisted it.
And then what happened?
And then the gun went off.
Attorneys say numerous people testified to the abuse that Judith suffered during her 20-year marriage and subsequent years after they divorced.
Judith didn't testify at the trial, but there was evidence submitted later for post-conviction relief and on her appeal about the abuse.
And why do you think ultimately, I guess that didn't factor into her sentence?
What we have to learn more about, and what Oklahoma Survivors Act is helping us with, is we don't understand enough about abuse, and we don't understand enough about the very deep psychological effects it has on people.
Something he and advocates for domestic violence survivors in Oklahoma hope they can work together with the state's district attorneys to understand. Now, we reached out to the Tulsa County and Oklahoma County District Attorney's offices, but haven't heard back yet. You'll find additional information about these cases on our website at ktol.com, and we'll make sure to keep you updated on all of the developments under the Oklahoma Survivors Act. In other news tonight, Broken Arrow police arrest a man wanted in Kansas for murder.